Welcome. I'm Travis.
And I'm Tyler, and this is Strategies for Success, a show that explores many topics while aiming to equip listeners with simple and practical lessons you can use in your everyday life.
Now join us on our journey as we reach for the impossible.
Welcome back to another episode, guys. Glad to have everybody. The title of this episode is "The Only Person That Can Make You Fail." So that's kind of that one's a statement there, but it brings up a question. Does anybody know who that is? And I got a good answer for you. It's yourself. Ultimately that's the only person that's going to make you fail time and time again. And in the last episode, we talked about having enemies and not always focusing on your enemies, but focusing on yourself. And so we explored this topic about you're the main reason that causes you to fail, because that goes hand in hand. So it's easy to transition from that episode to this one. But, there's countless times that in my life where I've had an idea or something that I'm like, I should pursue this. And, maybe I don't because I have self-doubt or, a common phrase that you hear nowadays is fear of failure. That's a true thing. That's a real thing. Worrying about what's going to happen, worrying about what other people are going to think. And there's been a lot of times I've worried about what other people are going to think. And then sometimes I hear from somebody else or find out myself that, that person didn't care at all or didn't even know that was happening, or, didn't, maybe not even knew me. So, it's sometimes that can be a humbling thing, but it's ultimately a lot of the stuff that determines whether you're successful is right between your ears. It's in your mind and how you think about things, and if you believe in yourself.
I like that. So one thing that when we were talking a couple weeks ago, last time we talked about the enemies, right? So I remember that my dad has told me this story many times, and I've went back to it to replay it to myself. But it said that there was a business across town from us that had said, "Hey, we are going to put those guys out of business. We're going to put them out." He said, "I don't care if we have to lose money on every deal. We're going to sell deals until we put those guys completely out of business." My dad told me, he said, "Hey, listen, this is stressful. I don't know what we're going to do." He was talking to his service manager at the time. This was 30 years ago, probably. Guy's name was Ray, and he's talking to Ray, and he's telling him all this stuff, and he's saying, "Hey, I just don't know what we're going to do. These guys are going to continue to sell. They're going to continue to lose money. And they're going to put us out of business, And Ray said something that stuck with my dad. And as he shared this with me, it stuck with me. But he said, "Mike," that's my dad. He said, "Mike, I just got to tell you, you're sitting around here and you've got yourself worked into a tizzy, but there's only one person here that can put you out of business." He was like, "Who's that?" He said, "It's yourself. If we focus on what we're good at, we're focused on our strengths, we focus on service, taking care of our customers, we are not going out of business. Not one person's going to come in here, and no matter what they do across town, they're not going to put us out of business. We are the only ones that can do that." So, and a lot of times when people go out like that and they say, "Hey, we're going to do everything we can to take this guy down," the Bible, I'm taking a reference here straight from the Bible, but it says, if you're going to go out for vengeance, basically to dig two graves, right? So your guy's going to sell all of his equipment across town, trying to put somebody else out of business, not making a dime. At the end of the day, he hurt himself probably more than he hurt us. And 40 years here, we are 42 years later, we're in business. And so I wanted to challenge you guys today with the only person, our biggest enemy. A lot of times we don't realize it. We think that everybody else is out to get us. Like Tyler mentioned, most of the time, those guys don't even know we're down there, nor do they care. But we're always worried about everyone who's our enemy. But our number one enemy is ourselves.
That's right. And I really enjoy entrepreneurship and all the things that go with that, as far as starting new businesses and exploring your passions and figuring out ways to make money. Or, it's not always about money. Sometimes it just figures out a way that you can, maybe make money to support one of your passions. And, maybe you're not putting a lot in your pocket, but it enables you to do something that you wanted to do, or travel somewhere you wanted to go, or something like that. But I listen to a lot of, clips from people that have really started a business and grew it from nothing into something huge, or in a field where they're really passionate about and really made an impact on people's lives. And most of the time, those people they kind of have one common thing where they, you know, whether it's in a video or a book or wherever I see it or read it or hear it or whatever, they kind of say, there's a lot of people that have had $1 million ideas that never pursued them, and
They never executed.
they never executed. They never, you know, they just got froze up and worried about failing, and they never tried. And so, you know, a common thing there is those guys were, you know, if you talk to people around them, like there's a lot of movies and stuff about these people, say Steve Jobs or, you know, you name it, the McDonald's founder. There's all kinds of people that the way these movies portray them or the documentaries, they're almost a little bit psycho because no matter what, they believe in themselves and they believe in what they're doing and they're passionate about it. So it's kind of one of those deals. A lot of those people, men and women that have been super successful and been good entrepreneurs or started successful businesses or organizations or, you know, did what they want to do to help people. They, no matter what, believed in themselves and their teams and what they were doing. And ultimately, that's probably why they were successful, is they poured a ton of effort into it. And, you know, as you can see in a lot of these stories, they had to make sacrifices to get there. But no matter what, they believed in themselves and they did not let their mind deter them from it. I said they're a little bit psycho, but they just believed in themselves and what they were doing, and their passion shined through that and enabled them to be successful because no matter what, they were going to be successful because that's what they believed.
I think from looking from the outside in, when you are looking at someone who's passionate, to the person who don't care or does not have that thrill to do and accomplish things that this person's excited about, you do seem a little bit crazy. You ever looked at someone who likes, like you said, you like golf? Mm-hmm. From the outside looking in, someone looking on there like, why is that dude buying all these golf clubs? You know, because you're passionate about it. Why I like hunting, you know, why do I have 4 boxes of hunting clothes here in the other room? Because you're passionate about it. You're excited about it.
Yeah. And I heard a podcast, a story about the Starbucks, Howard Schultz, believe that's his name. But when he was younger, he went on a business trip over to Italy. And to start out, they were just a small company around the Seattle area, and they primarily sold coffee grounds. They didn't really sell. It wasn't like the stores we see today. And so he went to Italy and saw that over there was a big coffee culture where the people would go to, you know, the cafes and stuff, and they'd sit around and drink coffee, and it was a social event, and they'd drink their espresso, and you know, it was a big deal. People made that a part of their day. And so he came back and kind of pitched that idea to people, to his bosses and stuff in America. And they basically told him it was never going to work. And, you know, no matter, he believed that idea was a good one because he saw it work in Italy. And he believed that it was going to work. And so eventually his bosses had another opportunity, and he was able to buy out the company and become the majority owner. I think at that point he had a little bit of ownership, but he wasn't the head honcho. And then he had an opportunity to buy them out. And, you know, now everybody knows what Starbucks is. You can go anywhere, and, you know, a lot of big cities, there's several stores there. They're all over the world. So obviously he believed in what he was doing, and it paid off because he was passionate about it.
There's a lot of negative people, a lot of people that will tell you everything's impossible, right? And like I said, that's where I accept the challenge and like to reach for it. But you don't need to magnify that by being your own worst enemy. Mm-hmm. You know, become your own cheer team. This is going to lead into our challenge for the day, but book that I finished recently, it was actually part of my required reading for some of the ministers training that I was working on. But it is called Good to Great. Famous book, Jim Collins. If you read that book, he talks about many corporations in there that what made them go from good to great. And then he talks about many companies that went from good to out of business. And one thing that really stuck out in my mind was when he was talking about these companies that went from good to great, kind of like you were talking about with Starbucks there. Mm-hmm. These guys that were highly successful, they didn't know. They set a plan together. They strategized with their team. They executed right. And then when they did that, they had no idea, though, that they were going from good to great. All they did was they focused on what they were successful at, and they implemented the plan, and they went after it with a passion.
It's almost like they, a lot of these stories I really like listening to or reading about is it's almost like they don't know there's any other way. There's no failure is not an option for them, because no matter what, they're going to figure out a way to make it work. They just don't. They can't fathom it not working, and people around them, that's where they think this guy's crazy. But if you really believe in something that much, you're probably going to make it work.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look up the quote now. I'm going to get this wrong, but as a famous missionary that said that his quote was "No surrender, no retreat, no regret, and no reserve." And so that stuck. Are you in 100%? There's no reserve. You're all in. That's what passion is. When you say, "Hey, I'm in 110%." How's that even possible? Well, it's because I have no reserve left. I'm all in. So here's the challenge. It's time.
All right.
Read the book. Hopefully you finished your first book that we put the challenge out there. Next book, Good to Great. We want you to read the book. We want to get some feedback. Even if you don't read the whole thing through, get on there and comment in a couple chapters. Tyler, now we got to accept the challenge. He's going to have to read the book along with me.
Yeah.
But Good to Great.
Yeah, we'll read the book with you, and in the comment sections on our social media pages, if you would comment, a quote or two, or maybe a lesson that you learned from that really stuck with you, that you really enjoyed.
All right, guys, we've given you some strategies for success, and now it's time to
execute.
That's right.
Thank you for learning with us.
Join us next time as we reach for the impossible. I'm Travis.
And I'm Tyler.
And this is
Strategies for Success.